Vintage clicks captured moments divine. Sepia whispers through the strands of time. Eyes locked on a century, frozen in grace. Stories of 1,000 lives etched in their face. Snapshots of the souls caught in the glow. Moments immortal, the world used to know. Fascinating frames, telling tales they bestow. Through the lens of the past, watch history overflow. Faded cracks hold secrets untold. Smiles and struggles, hands that hold cold. A glance at a soldier's soft, tender gaze linger in the twilight of long-lost days. Spun from shadows, light beams collide through the glass portal where legacies reside. A carousel of time, the relentless parade. Histories ignite from the Polaroid charade. Snapshots of the souls caught in the glow. Moments immortal, the world used to know. Fascinating frames, telling tales they bestow. Through the lens of the past, watch history overflow. Worn by the storm, a child's crying eyes, frozen forever under darkened skies. A dance in the square, joy in its prime. Even silence is loud, caught within the grime. Worn by the storm, a child's crying eyes, frozen forever under darkened skies. A dance in the square, joy in its prime. Even silence is loud, caught within the grime. Frozen moments in the film's embrace. Ghost of the ages staring me in the face. Sepia tone whispers, stories untold. Eyes of the past, now a portal to hold. Shadows of life in a paper cocoon. Immortal fragments under silver moon. From the trenches to the ballroom sway. History captured in eternal display. Of a tower or soldiers on sand, smile set in a frame, now forever aglow. Each tells a tale only they used to know. touch the corners, the faith they restore. Lives once past, but they're here once more. Stills of a world now fading gray, but their stories breathe, they never decay. Shadows of life in a paper cocoon, immortal fragments under silver moon. From the trenches to the ballroom sway, history captured in eternal display. Polaroid seconds, the click of time's grip, a stolen kiss or a captain's ship. Faces all framed in a fleeting flare, yet here they stand unaltered by air. Shadows of life in a paper cocoon, immortal fragments under silver moon. From the trenches to the ballroom sway, history captured in eternal display. Polaroid seconds, the click of time's grip, a stolen kiss or a captain's ship. Faces all framed in a fleeting flare, yet here they stand unaltered by air. Old photos of the past whispering through grain. Silent voices calling out through every frame. Eternal moments bleed through black and white decay. History's breath keeps our memories in play. Strangers in a flash who shape the tides of time. Heroes of the shadows, their stories so divine. A world long gone still lives within these squares. Mystic tales ensnared in the light it shares. Snapshots of time locked inside a frame. Echoes of the past whispering my name. Frozen in moments where dreams dare to shine. Fascinating history in those lines. Tattered edges hold secrets lost to years. In their sight